All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another ShareWise webinar. I'm your host, Sebastian Ciracito, here today with Matthew Pustahya from Litchfield Minerals. Thank you, Matthew, for coming on as a guest. It's going to be an interview style today. So we'll just be asking Matthew a couple of questions about the company, get a bit of insight from him, and obviously he'll show his expertise with the company. I invite all of the participants and the audience, if you have any questions you want to be answered, feel free to put them in the Q&A function. But thank you for coming here today with us, Matthew. Can I just ask you to first introduce yourself and Litchfield Minerals as a company, if you don't mind?
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me, Sebastian, and thanks for ShareWise for putting it on. My name is Matthew Pustahya. I'm the Managing Director of Litchfield Minerals. Litchfield Minerals was sort of a family-operated business that we thought had potential to go public because we had some really prospective tenements for base metals. Litchfield Minerals is a company that is primarily exploring in the Northern Territory. Our flagship project is the Mount Doreen tenement, which is 350 kilometres northwest of Alice Springs, which is primarily a base metals tenement. We also have the Lucy Creek tenement, which is 400 kilometres east of Alice Springs, and that's primarily manganese and our rare earth tenement. Basically, our company thesis is to try and bring back the sort of early 80s, early 90s exploration days where you go out to the ground and you explore it properly. What we don't want to be is a company that sort of sucks fees. One of the biggest issues with going public is that everything is expensive, and being stagnant is very expensive. So what we're trying to do is really always be moving, always be exploring, and always obtaining data so that we're using our capital efficiently and it's going into the ground. And look, that's really the company, and that's what the company is about.
Beautiful, thanks for that. And I know you have two projects currently, Litchfield, the Mount Doreen and the Lucy Creek projects. Would you mind just going into a bit of depth, I guess, of what those projects really entail and the objectives of each project, if you don't mind that?
Yeah, sure. So, as I said before, Mount Doreen is our primary sort of flagship project. The reason why it's our flagship project is we firmly believe we're on monster country. There's a lot of smoke within that tenement. There's sort of 5 areas of mineralisation that's very high grade at surface. And what's really interesting is the mineralisation occurs within the tenement where it outcrops. So only 30% of our tenement is outcrop, the rest is undercover. And where you find that outcrop, you find mineralisation. So there's quite a bit of smoke there. So it's all about, is there further mineralisation underneath the cover or around the basement? And we firmly believe there is. We're on the contact zone of the Nagalia Basin. We're next door to the Big Greeley deposit that Energy Metal owns, which is a large uranium deposit. WA1's made some substantial discoveries with Luni on very similar geologies. So look, we firmly believe we're in monster country there. We've hit the ground running within that tenement. We've done a lot there. We've done drilling, we've done IP, we've done aeromagnetics, we've done V10, we've done gravity, and we've got a whole range of good targets. Now it's about ranking those targets, which the V10 will help us do. We are expecting we should get some formal finalised V10 survey by the end of this week or early next week, which will really help us with our drilling into the end of the year. And we're pretty bullish on some of those conductors. So look, that's Mount Doreen. Lucy Creek is potentially low-hanging fruit for us. Lucy Creek appears to be a sedimentary manganese deposit. I really like Lucy Creek because there's numerous, like hundreds of manganese shows within that tenement. Some are more vast than others, like Lucy Creek 2. There's manganese oxides up to 1 square kilometre. That's been drilled before, only down to around 18 metres, and they were seeing down dip extensions with 3 to 11% manganese, which isn't very high grade, but what it shows you is there's potential throughout that tenement. A sort of model that we'd like to replicate there is a Botu Creek style model where there's roughly around 20 million type, 22% in very similar sort of geology, sedimentary manganese. And OM Manganese mine their deposit out in the only just recently, 2021, I think they finished production. So look, those are the two tenements. That's what we're sort of trying to do there. We're trying to make discoveries. We're trying to succeed quickly, or fail quickly because, you know, in this game it is very expensive.
Okay, brilliant. So I guess, can you give us a bit more detail? Are these projects in their infancy, or I guess what's the expected timelines for these projects in terms of commercialization and, you know, getting some expected revenue?
Yeah, they're quite a way away from revenue or development. Right now, we're sort of greenfields exploring. We do have some really, really nice targets at Mount Doreen, which we're just waiting on some more data so that we can release to the market about these further targets. But yeah, both quite some way away from sort of any form of revenue. They're both greenfields exploration plays. We're very excited about what we're seeing. However, work needs to be done and money needs to be spent.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks. And I guess on a similar basis, could you just give us a bit of a deep dive as to what cash flow is looking like at the moment for these projects and for Litchfield as a whole?
Yeah, sure. Cash is fine for now. As I said, we had a little bit of an expensive quarter because we had some drilling to pay for and the VTEM. However, we are fully cashed up and we can deliver the next sort of set of campaigns, which entails ground EM, some IP, another couple thousand meters of drilling. So look, in terms of cash flow, we are getting through it. However, we're not expecting to raise capital anytime soon.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. And I do have a couple of questions just from the audience. So I guess, is there a plan to drill the megalith prospect, or is it too deep?
Oh, that's a really good target. I love the megalith target. I think that's a sort of target that can change, you know, not only the company, but the state in general, if that was mineralized. It's absolutely massive. The good thing about that target is it dips to the north right into our tenement. The issue with that target, and that's why I went and did magnetics, or that's why the team did magnetics over this target. This is why the team did gravity over that target is, as you know, it's very deep. The actual top of the magnetic anomaly we had modelled, and it looks to start at about 750 to 800. So you've got to go through 800 meters of cover before you actually hit the target, and then it's, well, is it mineralized or is it not mineralized? It's right on the hinge and the contact of the Megalia Basin, and it's got two large train track faults that run through it. So it's very smoky. What we were trying to do with the gravity was we were trying to see if there was a relationship with the gravity and the magnetic anomaly. And we were hoping that we saw a large gravity anomaly that sort of intersected it. And then that would have given us a relationship and also a sort of shallower ore body to sort of drill, or potential ore target to drill. In terms of will we drill it, I'd love to drill it. And it's definitely on our radar to drill. It's probably been pushed back a little bit because the gravity sort of showed a relationship, but it was sort of questionable at the same time as well. So it means we would have to drill that, you know, 700 meters, 800 meters, and that becomes a very expensive hole. I think we've probably got some quicker wins on the board. However, it's definitely in our pipe. And once we're recapitalised, I would like to go and revisit that target properly, because I think, you know, that is a game-changing type target if it does hit.
Brilliant. And what would you say your time horizons on that roughly?
Well, again, that would come down to sort of recapitalisation and everything else. So, I mean, I would say we would start looking at that probably second half of next year. We really want to go and drill some of our shallower VTEM targets, which were discovered through the VTEM recently, throughout the end up until the end of this year, and then sort of work out where we sit from there.
Brilliant. All right, and I guess that leads me into my next question. Is there a plan to VTEM survey Lucy tenements at the moment? Yeah,
definitely. Look, probably not right now, but it's probably going to be early next year when we do some VTEM over Lucy Creek. The Botu Creek deposit was found via VTEM. They found a conductive response. In the 1990s, when they discovered Botu Creek originally, they thought it was just superficial mineralisation, much like ours. Then they sort of did some more modern geophysics over it, and they thought they had a base metals target. So they drilled the base metals target, and they actually got these two very, very nice seams of upgraded and oxidized sort of manganese, which is kind of what you want. Next thing you know, they've turned that into a 20 million tonne deposit, made some good money out of it in an open pit. So look, we definitely will be VTEMing, we plan to VTEM Lucy Creek because it's a very important it's a very important geophysical technique to use when looking for these sedimentary manganese deposits.
Brilliant. All right. And I guess, is there any gold potential on any of the tenements at the moment?
Look, there is gold potential. There's definitely hints and sniffs of gold about. At the Clark area in Mount Doreen, I think the highest grade rock chip sample was 1.5%. Sorry, 1.5 gram per ton. There is some gold at Mount Doreen as well from historical stuff. There probably is gold potential because you see a lot of bismuth. It's likely to be deeper, but there is gold potential. We just need to drill more and find out. What we're seeing is evidence of it, but we're yet to see it in the drill cores.
Okay, brilliant. And look, from my understanding, primarily, Litchfield is sort of a copper mining company. What would you say the next resources that are mainly mined and drilled come after that?
Yeah, sure. Look, Litchfield Minerals are a copper exploration focused company. Litchfield Minerals really don't want to be esoteric focused. So look, if we find esoteric minerals, those weird, wonderful minerals along the way, we will look to do commercial deals with them. And that's kind of what we've done recently. We've been out in the field, we've looked at our uranium and our rare earth potential, and we've got a lot of data about to come back on that, and we will present that to market as we get it. But we went to check that potential so that if we did see some potential there, we could potentially commercialize that early to bring in some revenue so that we could explore for base metals. So in terms of what's our strategy, well, look, we will continue to look for copper and base metals throughout our tenements, and also manganese is a big focus for us. So those are the key metals that we're after currently, and we think we have the right tenements currently within our portfolio to deliver some good results.
Yeah, of course. So a copper focus, but anything that comes along the way, you'll definitely take it.
Oh, look, it's not our focus, but I think the thing to note with our company is we recognise that these things may exist, and we are going to explore them to try and commercialise them. So yes, correct.
All right, brilliant. And I guess one of the last questions that I had. So I understand that it is expensive, but I guess Litchfield promotes sort of cost effectiveness at the moment. Is there anything in place that is sort of driving this cost efficiency, or would you say that at the moment it is a bit of a struggle with costs and expenses?
Oh, look, I think what we're doing is cost effective in the sense that we're getting all the data before drilling. We did drill our first targets off initial data sets that we had gained whilst we were private. So in terms of the cost effectiveness, we're following the traditional process of exploratory companies. A couple of companies will go out there and drill based off no data. So in terms of our expenses, yes, we do follow a very tight ship in terms of expenses. We try and rein them in as much as possible. I will say that our original drilling campaign, our first one, was a little bit more expensive because we're battling rain the whole way through, and it was unfortunate, but you just kind of had to just go through it because we had almost 600 mil of rain. So I mean, the next campaigns for drilling will be a lot cheaper, and we're very confident that we can deliver a large 2,000 or up to 2,000 metre campaign by the end of this year.
Sweet. No, sounds great. Just to tee us off, I think we'll probably wrap up soon. But I mean, lastly, just a bit of a background. How long have you been sort of involved with Litchfield at the moment? And could you give us a bit of a rundown about your background and your involvement with the company?
Yeah, sure. Litchfield Minerals I've been involved in Litchfield Minerals for about 4 or 5 years. I, with my family, decided it was a great project to take to market, and through my network, we were able to IPO it in a very, very tough market. So in terms of Litchfield, I've been here for sort of 4.5 years. In terms of where I started and what my background is, my dad took me to the Goldfields when I was 3, and we've sort of been out in the bush since. We're prospectors by heart. I'm not a geologist. I understand geology very well, though, because I've been in the bush for a long time. My background is really commercialisation, commercialisation in tech, commercialisation in exploration, and now we're sort of bringing it together and putting it together. So yeah, look, that's my background, delivering cost-effective campaigns and having a lot of contacts in the bush.
Sweet, sounds brilliant. All right, well, thanks for that, Matthew. I think that'll wrap us up for this afternoon. This is recorded for the audience, so if you want to watch this back, the recording is available on YouTube. So yeah, Matthew, is there any last words or anything that you want to just finish off on saying?
No, I just want to say, look, I appreciate you guys for asking the questions and hanging around. Look, we've got some news flow coming in over the next few weeks, and we are looking to go out and aggressively attack exploration with drilling throughout to the end of this year and then into next year. So guys, stick around. Hopefully we can deliver some good results for the shareholders.
Brilliant, brilliant, very promising. All right, thank you, Matthew, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the webinar. And bye for now. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sebastian.
Cheers,
Thanks, shareholders. Thanks, shareholders.